Hello, everybody. Welcome to Eden Fractal, and hope that everybody's enjoying the new year. I have the pleasure to be here with amazing innovators, Rosmari, Tadas, Hurricane, Jorge, and Zaal. And we have some exciting topics on the agenda today related to growing the fractal ecosystem and all sorts of cool things that people are doing with fractal communities and fractal tools and stuff like that. So if anyone wants to say a quick hello or wish everybody a happy new year, a bit of a delayed one, we're here on January 16th at our first event of the year at our new time on Thursday at 17 UTC. So appreciate you all being here. Feel free to say hello or anything like that. And I'm also going to give a quick presentation to provide an overview of Eden Fractal, where we're at right now, and the topics on the agenda. All right. We got some peace suns, got some waves here. We got some great innovators here. I'm looking forward to everybody hearing about all the great stuff that everybody's been up to. And yeah, we're at the first Eden Fractal event of the year. As I said, we're at our new time, Thursday, 17 DC. We've been meeting as the Eden community for about 4 years now, since 2021, and excited to grow the fractal ecosystem long into the future, setting the foundations for transformative growth going forward with our innovation like the respect game and so forth. You could check out this tweet from the Optimistics to learn more about the thread about what's been going on. And I'm going to give a high-level overview here about everything that we'll discuss, or some of the things we'll discuss in today's event. And if you're not familiar with Eden Fractal, check out edenfractal.com. Eden Fractal is a community that's dedicated to optimizing collective decision-making through collaborative research, development, education, gamification, and community engagement. We've been working together, collaborating since 2021 as the Eden community, and working to help all community organizations to have the tools and methods to make the best decision making possible, fair, fast, and fun. So you can learn more on edenfractal.com about our vision and our mission, working with fractal decision making processes, as well as what are fractal decision making processes that enable groups to form into smaller groups to make decisions and coordinate effectively. And everyone's welcome to join our bi-weekly events every Thursday at 17 UTC at our new time to help optimize collective decision making, ask any questions, and help learn about how you can implement these processes into your community or organization. We produce videos of each event. We have over 112 amazing videos where you can learn about our community and amazing builders in the community and take part, join the stage, share your thoughts, and also learn about the tools that we're building too. So amazing developers like Tadas are building open source software in the Optimistics toolkit and generally fractal apps. So you can learn more about the tools that you can use to play the respect game and empower your community with respect. Everyone's welcome to join the events and learn more by exploring the website. Also join the Telegram group too. We have a new blog that's up in the top right corner, and we have all our videos produced at edenfractal.com/videos by the Eden Creators team. You can check out our previous discussions about our strategy that we discussed at the end of 2024, where we've been getting deep into the strategy of how to really enable transformative growth for fractal decision-making processes and build upon these foundations that we've had over the past 4 years. So encourage people to check it out on the Eden Creators YouTube channel, where, of course, you can find full episodes as well as Optimism Fractal and many other videos, along with timestamps and show notes. And also check out the new blog, too, if you haven't yet. If you want to learn more about these processes, there's kind of an overview about a lot of things we're working on here, like the respect game and fractal democracy and so forth. It's constantly in development. And then there's the Optimistics Toolkit, where you can learn about the apps that we're building too. All this stuff you can find on the homepage at edenfractal.com to learn about the great apps that are going on, and register and invite friends to Eden Fractal's biweekly events on Thursdays, 17 UTC, that alternate biweekly basis with Optimism Fractal. Optimism Fractal, we just had our first event of the year last week, and we're going to be meeting again next week at Thursday, 17 UTC, building on Ethereum with the respect game. So encourage people to join both these events to get involved in the Ethereum and the fractal ecosystem. All that you can find on the Optimistics event calendar, lou.mosh/optimistics. And now I'm going to share a little bit of community news and also an outline of things on the agenda today, too. So first off, I just pulled up WaveWarZ. We had Hurricane and Zaal join. Hurricane and Zaal have been building WaveWarZ, where musicians compete and host Twitter spaces and do all sorts of cool stuff. They're integrating with fractal decision-making processes in a variety of ways, working with the ZAO Fractal, too. And Zaal just put up a ZAO calendar where you can join the ZAO Fractal 34th event coming up this upcoming week, and the 35th event, and so forth. Zaal's been doing amazing work, as well as several other community members in the ZAO Fractal, pioneering these fractal decision-making processes and coordination processes for creative communities. Encourage everybody to check it out. I believe the ZAO.com is another place where you can learn more details. We'll hear from Hurricane and Zaal in a little bit. And we're also going to be, so the main topic that I put together for this week is, kind of just having an overview discussion about the state of the fractal ecosystem in 2025 and how we can really create transformative growth and build upon the foundations that we built so far. So I put up this post on the Fractal Joy Network and just wishing everybody well, and then talking about some of the fractal ecosystem developments. So a lot of this we discussed in last week's Optimism Town Hall. So I'm going to briefly recap that, encourage people to watch the Town Hall to learn more. And then there are two proposals that I made for the Eden Fractal community that are relevant for the entire fractal ecosystem that I'd be very curious to hear everybody's thoughts on if we have some time today to discuss it. So first off, over the past month or so, or over the past several months, we had several discussions, and I curated a Eden Fractal community Notion site where you can see a lot of the documents where we've been discussing these things. So in addition to the videos, if you want to catch up and learn all the intricacies of our strategy and planning, then you can check out this Notion site to see some of the documents that we've been making, some of the documents from Tadas here, and some of the ones that I've been writing, as well as lots of other content here. And then a few weeks ago, Tadas shared a blog post identifying current problems with fractals and meeting schedule that we did a deep dive into during the Optimism Town Hall event. Thanks so much, Tadas, for sharing the thoughts here. We were brainstorming on different schedules. For whatever reason, it's not loading right now, but you can find the link there. And then after that, that inspired me to publish an article called Growing Together, Evolution of Fractal Communities in 2025, in which I responded to some of Tadas's ideas and came up with these proposals for implementing Cagendas, the community agenda game for selecting topics at Eden Fractal with the new ORDAO deployment that we're going to be implementing soon with the ORDAO software at Eden Fractal to discuss things that are relevant for the fractal ecosystem, and also a proposal to establish Eden Fractal core intents that are related to positioning the community for increasing engagement of the respect game, utilization of the respect token, and fractal ecosystem funding. You can learn much more here. Tadas and me, we went back and forth with lots of feedback here about the best ways to uh, position these communities and so forth of 2025. So encourage people to look into the article and watch the Optimism Town Hall video from last week for a great overview, as well as the most updated information where we get into this. So this is the Eden Fractal Cagendas proposal here. You could see, maybe I'll briefly introduce it. We've been playing Cagendas a lot at Optimism Town Hall for the past year, and we actually started playing Cagendas over 2 years ago at Eden Fractal. So I made a proposal to start using respect from all across the fractal ecosystem, starting with Eden Fractal Respect, but also perhaps Optimism Fractal Respect, ZAO Fractal Respect, and so forth, that allow people to vote with their respect on topics, basically, to discuss that are most important for fractal communities. We could also branch out to the Genesis Fractal, the first fractal communities, and many others too. So that's a proposal I have that I think is a good direction for how we can organize our events going forward for Eden Fractal. And then these Eden Fractal core intents, as I said, I think it might be helpful to align interests in the ecosystem, or not align interests, but rather align efforts in the ecosystem or around these intents. And I think that two of our most successful products that have been helping to achieve our mission and our vision of fractal decision-making processes are the Respect Game and Respect Token, and also a big need for the fractal ecosystem is funding. So I just accidentally closed that window, but you can see that window there, and I had a nice picture there that shows an overview. So I'm proposing these two proposals about implementing agendas and starting to use core intents around respect game, respect token, and funding for the fractal ecosystem to help support this growth. So encourage people to check the video to learn more. Happy to dive into these in more depth now. And then during this event, we can basically have an open discussion about, everybody can share their thoughts and ideas about the fractal ecosystem. I would love feedback on the draft proposals. I'm happy to go into more detail on this if it'd be helpful. And if anybody has questions about fractal decision-making processes and how they can implement it or best use in their organization, or updates from things that they've been working on from over the break or over the past several months, then happy to hear it, as well as just ideas for growing the broader fractal ecosystem and discussions about maximizing our collective impact. Overall, I'm very excited to make 2025 a breakthrough year for implementing these fractal decision-making processes at society. And yeah, greatly appreciate everyone being here and helping to support our efforts here. I have a bunch more links I can go into here about agendas and those things, but maybe I'll stop there. And if anybody has any thoughts or things they'd like to discuss, things that we think we should prioritize, I don't know, maybe Tadash, if you wanted to speak first, because I know we had quite a detailed conversation last week about the direction for the fractal ecosystem and how to best orient Eden Fractal and Optimism Fractal. And also, I believe that you said that you're aiming to deploy ORDAO for Eden Fractal in this month too. So I'd love an update on that too. So maybe Tadashi, you want to go first? Also, it's great to hear from Jorge. Jorge, creator of the Spanish Speaking Fractal, and been working with Vlad and the Respect Games app. And your Rosmari has lots of great ideas, and Zaal and Hurricane are going to be sharing the stuff about WaveWarZ and ZAO Fractal and stuff like that. So basically, open floor to discuss what we'd like to discuss. And feel free to jump in, whoever wants to go first.
Okay, so yeah, since you mentioned me, yeah, I'm I'm still planning to deploy ORDAO for Eden Fractal, as well as ZAO, if nothing changed from your side, Zaal. Uh, yeah, and a couple of other, and also for Abraham's work or whatever. So yeah, plan to do a whole batch of deployment. Regarding yeah, and I would like to talk about like specifically about deployment for Eden Fractal, the mechanisms there. Uh, but we could also talk about your intents, like maybe this time not about the schedule, but about the idea, your idea of intents, and more generally, maybe what I think Eden Fractal needs right now besides ORDAO deployment. So I don't know which way we should go first.
Okay, well, sounds great. Thanks for the updates and all those directions sound great. I see Zal also wrote in the chat, yes, excited. Going to be an awesome transition. Shout out to Abraham as well, who's been building the fractogram components along with Howard, and love to see the integrations there. The apps are getting better than ever. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it might be best to, if you have anything else you want to share about the ORDAO deployment, or maybe you just, I think you said you had a couple things that you wanted to discuss. Maybe if you want to put those thoughts or questions out there so we can hear it and then we can get
Yeah,
into the intents afterwards. Maybe that would be good.
yeah, maybe let's talk about ORDAO deployment first because maybe it's a priority if you're going to do it. Maybe I will do it before the next meeting. So, uh, yeah, so previously I said that I kind of expressed intent to have a totally trustless. Uh, Basically, maybe I will try to provide the background that uh, Eden Fractal previously had smart contracts and a respect token on EOS, and now we want to deploy on base. And yeah, so we were thinking about how to migrate the token distribution because we think it would be best to bootstrap security and the whole consensus on existing tokens through distribution, but we need it on another chain now. So yeah, so regarding that, previously I thought about uh, creating a totally trustless solution where which would involve smart contract where people would sign uh, basically provide a signature with their EOS keys, proving to EVM smart contract that we uh, possess that they are the owner of EOS account and the smart contract would distribute appropriate amount of respect. Uh, yeah, right now if we are going to deploy soon, this solution is off the table. And I think I can provide another solution which is good enough. So it would be like an ORDAO. Like it would, in summary, in short, it would be Orec acting as an oracle for respect for old respect distribution. Uh, More concretely, it would look like an ORDAO deployments. You would have old respect contract or parent respect and the new respect. And yeah, and initially, old respect distribution would be deployed with uh, balances for those who share the EVM keys and express intent to be part of that new deployment. Uh, Yeah, and they would get the amount of respect tokens that we had in the previous version of Eden Fractal. And then, yeah, and then Orec you would bootstrap security on that, and for new respect, it's empty distribution. And then if some old member joins Eden Fractal again on base and wants to have his old balance back in the parent respect distribution on base, he basically does a request or creates a proposal even using Orec, and then yeah, if it's if it's a proposal requesting the right amount of tokens, meaning the same amount that the account had in previous version of Eden Fractal, then existing members basically vote yes for it, and tokens are issued. Yeah, so in a sense, Orec would act as an oracle for the parent respect and as a decision maker for the new respect. Does that make sense?
I believe it does make sense. I might need to listen to it and think it over again, just to fully absorb and see if I have any questions or anything like that. But overall, I think it makes sense to me. If anybody has any questions or comments, then feel free. For anybody who's watching, who doesn't know about ORDAO, ORDAO is a elegant set of smart contracts that Tadas has been developing over the past 8 months or so. That's designed to work with the respect game and fractal decision-making processes. Super powerful. I'll share a link to optimistic.io/ORDAO. I'll maybe pull it up in a little bit where people can learn more and find introductory videos on ORDAO. Incredibly helpful software for coordinating decentralized governance and executing on-chain transactions. All sorts of great benefits. So if anyone has any questions for Tadas, then feel free. From my side, you mentioned before that you could kind of like focus on this to get it implemented before the next event, and I'm up for that. That'd be great if you want to, but also I'm okay with doing, just not having formal Cagendas and stuff like that until next month or something like that. So I'm happy to do it however you think is best. If you want to take a bit more time to think it over, or you mentioned a couple of different solutions and approaches about how the best way that we could deploy this is. So happy to explore those, and if it would be helpful, we could also explore those in text, or meet sometime throughout the week as well to figure out the best way to do it. And yeah, I suppose I can also highlight too, it seems like quite a powerful way to be able to move respect across blockchains too. So EOS space, Eden Fractal respect, and from our first 75 Eden Fractal meetings when we played the respect game, that's on the EOS blockchain, and then we can move it to Base and EVM blockchain. So that could be very useful for not only Eden Fractal's needs, but also any other community that wants to uh, basically migrate their respect token or their reputation token distribution using Orec and ORDAO to a different blockchain. So it seems like both very helpful for Eden Fractal, so we can play Cagendas and be able to do all sorts of great stuff that we want to do here, as well as the higher order fractals ideas that we shared. Plus, also provide a use case for other communities to be able to easily move between blockchains. Um, is that correct, Adas? Do you agree with that? And is there anything else you want to add, or any other direction you want to take it in?
Yes, that's correct. I would add that this feature, you wouldn't be able to do it with liquid respect. Like it's a real feature. We can do this stuff like this because Eden Fractal current distribution is stable and is very unlikely to ever change. Uh, yeah, yeah, and yeah, regarding, I think I'm kind of focused on this kind of solution that I've currently presented. Uh, and yeah, I don't promise that it will be ready by the next meeting, but hopefully soon after that. But I will maybe try to do it before next meeting. We'll see.
Okay, well, sounds great. I'm really excited to have ORDAO implemented for Eden Fractal. And I don't know if Zaal wants to share any thoughts here, but I know that as Zaal mentioned before, he's excited, and you've spoken with him several times about implementing it for the ZAO Fractal as well as others like Jorge or Rosmari or Hurricane, or anybody watching who wants to implement this. This is really exciting news. Um, so, and then, yeah, I suppose if there's anything you want from me to Das as far as like an answer or clarification, then feel free to ask or share any thoughts or anything like that. And I plan to just listen to your audio recording again, just so that I can get a better understanding, and I can follow up and chat about it too, just to better understand those two different approaches that you mentioned. Feel free to also reiterate it if you want to discuss in more detail here, but I would like to just better understand those two approaches. Or if you want to just take the lead on it as you have been and just do whatever you think is best, then that's cool with me too. And happy to dive into any other details of the ORDAO deployment as you like, either now or going forward in whatever other format.
Yeah, as always, I appreciate feedback, and if someone does not like something about the solution, it's time to it would be good to hear feedback. sooner rather than later. So uh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's not like I change anything for existing Eden Fractal. I just make a new deployment, and Eden Fractal either uses it or not. But yeah, I'm going to probably have to make few additional features into our DAO to enable that new issuance of all the respect on base.
Okay.
I have a quick question. How much does it cost to deploy on base those smart contracts?
It's very little as far as I know. Not much. I know how much it costs to deploy our DAO on Optimism. Uh, Probably less than a few dollars. I don't think it's more than in base.
Oh, interesting. So it's different than Ethereum because Ethereum is like hundreds of dollars to deploy, but that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, that's very different. The whole promise of L2s, basically.
Okay, appreciate that.
Yep. Good question. Thanks for clarifying that. I see Zaal wrote L2 Superchain is on the move. Yeah, Superchain's growing. Optimism's doing great work. Check out Optimism Fractal to get involved with Base and the Superchain. And Zal had written that he's excited to see how it works for Eden Fractal and then finding ways we can implement a version of ORDAO for ZAO Fractal portion for the ZAO. So sounds great. Yeah, we can help lead the way and figure out the best solutions that ZAO Fractal and others can follow up on. I suppose one other question I wanted to ask you, Tadas, too, is and this is related to ORDAO deployment for Eden Fractal, but also just more generally this kind of cross-chain communication with ORDAO. So one of the suggestions I had in this Eden Fractal Cagendas proposal is that I would love it if at Eden Fractal Cagendas we could have it where people from different fractals could vote with their respect tokens. Right now at Optimism Fractal we have Cagenda, or at Optimism Town Hall rather, we have Cagendas where people can vote with their Optimism Fractal respect token, the OPF. And I imagine we could do a pretty similar thing with the Eden Fractal respect, but it'd also be great if at Eden Fractal events we can have it where people can vote with Optimism Fractal tokens, OPF tokens, or ZAO Fractal tokens, or Genesis Fractal tokens, or whatever. And we talked about deploying ORDAO for different fractal communities as well at our past events. And I'm just wondering if you've thought about that. I suppose you could use a similar kind of technique to do like a cross-chain communication between, say, OP main and base if needed. And we could also get into this later too. That's as one question I have in particular. If you have any thoughts, then I'd be curious to hear what you think about that.
I see that it might be a feature, a desirable feature, uh, but yeah, it would. Currently, it's hard coded for Orec to only refer to only one token contract, so it would have to be changed at the smart contract level. Or I could deploy additional smart contract that basically composes other tokens, but yeah, it would require some work. And yeah, with cross chain uh, across multiple chains, it would be even harder. And yeah, we can do cross chain like movement of fractals, but when it comes to making transactions like votes, it's more complex because this Oracle kind of solution with Orec has to be facilitated by people voting, and so it's not automated, and I think it would be hard.
Okay. Well, thanks for the insights there. Yeah, we can brainstorm at some point to figure out how that would best work. 'Cause I see that being immensely useful. Do you have an idea there?
Yeah, I previously thought about something, and I just now realized that it relates to your idea here. Like, uh, if Fractal has like stable respect distribution, like cold respect distribution, like Optimism Fractal has, it basically you can deploy that distribution on any chain, on any EVM chain, and that's people like we could deploy Optimism Fractal's all distribution on Ethereum, for example, and now Optimism Fractal can issue transactions on Ethereum directly. So we could use that to make it happen.
Okay. Well, that's interesting and exciting. And another option we might want to explore too is with Snapshot, you might even be able to pull in votes from different chains in Snapshot too. I know you can set up custom voting strategies where you can get like two different tokens voting and have voting power. So that's also maybe another avenue that we can explore by using Snapshot and just having two different deployments, potentially even on different chains. I know that the OP Labs and Base Team and so forth are working on superchain interoperability too. So maybe that will also help with us. But I like the idea of potentially deploying directly on the Ethereum mainnet at some point too, and all the potential that that lies in that kind of technical approach. All right, very cool. Tadas, do you have any other thoughts you want to share about ORDAO, or does anybody have any questions or comments about ORDAO and the ORDAO deployment?
But
It sounds cool. Like where in the process are you right now?
right now I'm preparing basically all the code repository so that I'm able to manage different fractals, the infrastructure for different fractals uh, in a sustainable manner.
Okay, and how many fractals are you looking at to in that to support
So
or
besides current ones, so those would be Optimism fractal and ORDAO office hours. It would ZAO Fractal, Eden Fractal, and for Abraham. Yeah, but in the future it could be more like.
okay, sounds exciting. Thanks for sharing.
Yep, it's very exciting, and looking forward to many more community organizations too deploying the ORDAO software. I guess it being essential digital infrastructure for many more community organizations around the world. All right, cool. Well, looks like we had a nice productive discussion about ORDAO deployment, and we're about halfway through our scheduled hour. We could also go longer if we want, but we do have some other exciting topics on the agenda too, so we could move forward. If anybody else has any thoughts you want to share about ORDAO or questions, then feel free to raise your hand or share it in the chat, or we can bring it back to that discussion anytime we want because it's really a great thing to discuss. But otherwise, I suppose we could also move on to the other topics at hand. Tadas had mentioned the Eden Fractal core intents that I'm proposing. So I could provide an overview of this. And we also want to get into WaveWarZ and ZAO Fractal stuff. And I don't know if Jorge wants to share any updates. I know Jorge was working on, he made a really nice proposal for Cardano Fractal, to start a Cardano Fractal over the past month or two, working with the Respect.Games app that Vlad built too. And would love to hear any updates that you have, Jorge, as well. Perhaps I'll start. I see Jorge's on camera. So if anyone wants to jump in and share any updates or thoughts right now, then feel free. And if not, then I can maybe share a couple screens and maybe we can transition into the topic about core intents and then we can get into the wave wars and stuff like that. But yeah, if anyone wants to jump in, then feel free as well. And with that, I suppose I'll share the screen. And by the way, Jorge, thanks for thanks again for joining. Jorge is an old friend and great contributor to Fractal, so I am really excited to hear if you do want at some point to share a little bit about what you've been working on with Fractals and your experience and so forth at some point. That would be really great to hear. So the ORDAO software, for anybody who's not familiar, as I mentioned, optimistics.io/ORDAO. Tadas has this really well documented in the GitHub repositories that he has that we have on the Optimistics GitHub organization. This article provides an overview. I want to improve this article because it could be organized better. I recently made some nice new art here, but you can learn more about how it works and find the key resources. Learn about OREC, which is the Optimistic Respect-Based Executive Contract, the smart contract that executes transactions on behalf of an organization or community with non-transferable tokens. You can see some technical details there, and then lots of videos where you can see introductory overview to ORDAO and how it's being used by Optimism Fractal now, and the Optimism Respect-Based Executive Contract, which is at the core of this interview with Patrick, talks at our events, and Tadas has hosted 5 ORDAO office hours where you can learn more too. So feel free to share messages in the Eden Fractal Telegram chat or the Optimism Fractal Discord to learn more about ORDAO and see how you can use it to empower your community. And then, yeah, I guess I'll give a high-level overview of this intents document as well here. So I provided an introduction to this before, but just as a quick reminder, I proposed these three intents as increasing respect engagement, increasing respect token utilization, and increasing fractal ecosystem funding. Was basically what I'm thinking would be helpful to rally the Eden Fractal community around, and really the entire fractal ecosystem, because there's many people in the fractal ecosystem that has been building with what we call fractal decision-making processes. Sometimes we call it fractal democracy and so forth. And what my impression has been from working closely in the space and collaborating with all these great innovators over the years, that the respect game has been the brand and the specific type of process that has been most effective in implementing these fractal decision-making processes in different communities, and eventually working towards our goal of implementing it throughout society to help all communities, organizations make the best decision-making possible. Respect Game is like very approachable. It's very accessible. People can understand it well, and several people have developed apps around the Respect Game. So I'm proposing that Eden Fractal and the whole fractal ecosystem rallies around increasing the engagement of the Respect Game, which includes implementation, the amount of times people play, and all sorts of different metrics like that. I'm also proposing that we have metrics to guide our progress here. And then the second core intent that I'm suggesting is respect token utilization. So I also have an article here too that might be better to show for more details about this. If I go to all this can be found in the Growing Together article, or I have an article right here, Eden Fractal Intents, Aligning Efforts to Grow the Fractal Ecosystem, where you can see it's still an early draft progress, so it's not maybe worth getting into too much yet, but very curious to hear thoughts and feedback on it. It's a little bit messy, apologies for that, but it basically provides some historical context and I think why it's helpful to organize these strategic intents and like really to help focus our mission, because we have a great mission and great vision at Eden Fractal, but I think that it'd be really helpful to focus it more with like these specific products that are working. And so, yeah, respect token utilization it's a token that comes out of the respect game. So it's focused on expanding meaningful use of respect tokens for community coordination and decision making. So I suggest some success metrics here, like number of decisions made through using respect, the total amount of value that's governed through respect systems, where people are actually allocating value to communities that are using respect and using respect to distribute that. Different integrations with different protocols like HATS protocol and so forth, active governance participants, um, improvements to the general protocol of respect and so forth. And then I have a third one over here about fractal ecosystem funding. And I went through quite a bit of detail in like providing rationale and ways to contribute and so forth for each intent. So like respect game engagement, I provide details here, and then I provide why it's important, which I kind of just gave an overview about. Also note on branding, some people like to call it different things and some people don't call it a game and so forth. So I think just it's great to focus on the respect game, but also great to focus on other things that are like the respect game as well and support the entire fractal ecosystem, regardless of what branding they're using. And then I talk a little bit about our current state and what we've achieved so far, but then there's lots of opportunities for growth. Basically, we've had a lot of impact and a lot of community growth and educational resource and technical development, but it's all been rather limited to relatively small communities. And so we need to grow to a larger scale and really get to a point where it's, helping thousands, helping millions, helping billions of people eventually too. So overview of the growth opportunities and current limitations. And then I have a vision for just how transformative it could be when we get global implementation that I'm working on here, where everybody understands the respect game, it's widely understood and so forth. And then different ways to contribute, like building communities, doing technical development, doing educational research, and sharing promotional content and helping people understand it, helping people implement it, doing research, doing outreach and so forth, and then success metrics. So that's my idea, to try to provide like a comprehensive overview of each intent. And then the other ones are not as sophisticated in terms of how much there is there, but they have brief overview. So respect token utilization, basically getting more people to use the respect token and benefit from using the respect token. And then funding the fractal ecosystem, as Tadas had written in the article that he wrote over the break, and as we've talked a lot about over the past couple of years, a lot of our work has been on a volunteer basis with some grants here and there. And really, in order to propel our growth of the fractal ecosystem, I think that it makes sense to focus on funding for the fractal ecosystem and helping each community member thrive, helping people build businesses around the fractal ecosystem, and exploring all the different ways to fund the fractal ecosystem and so forth. So that's kind of an overview of my ideas. I also keep mentioning the fractal ecosystem too, which is like all the community and contributors, technical infrastructure, knowledge, coordination systems, and so forth. So that's my idea. I could share more details about this in the future too, as it's more. I'm planning by next time, by next event, to have this more well written out everywhere, but I think it's a pretty good start right now. So would be curious to hear anybody's thoughts on that. I know Tadashi shared a comment. I think you weren't sure if it was needed to add intents right now. So I'd be curious to hear your thoughts, or anybody else on the call would be curious to hear your thoughts. And also, I do want to make sure we have time to get into WaveWarZ, and ZAO Fractal. And Rosmari said that she'd love to learn more about Cardano Fractal. And we do only have 15 minutes on the hour, so I'm happy to stick around after the hour. But if anybody does need to go at the top of the hour and wants to make sure that we can discuss the topic that you're most interested in sharing, then please let us know. Maybe raise your hand or just unmute, and then we can also potentially come back to the Eden Fractal intents too, if we want to allocate time for the other topic first. But yeah, floor is open once again. If anyone wants to share, Tadas is here, unmuted. If you want to respond to the intents first, then feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, so to be honest, I'm a bit skeptical if setting intents would do anything. Fractals were always a bit maybe more successful at just trying to avoid contributions that already happened. And yeah, it seems like it would be similar to what Optimism is doing with setting intents for each season or so. But we have like funding. We have a token to distribute through which we can incentivize people actually building in that direction. We don't have that. And that being said, I just thought that it really makes sense to discuss what's the most important for fractal ecosystem right now. So maybe that's the way to do it. So yeah, and just wanted to throw it out there that another thing we could eventually talk about is consensus process for Eden Fractal. I mean, Optimism Fractal. Previously, we had Eden plus Fractal. Optimism Fractal has off-chain process using using snapshot, and yeah, I'm not sure yet what the new version of Eden Fractal will use. But maybe that's a bigger topic for another meeting.
Great points. So yeah, as far as Eden Fractals consensus process, that is a discussion. We could just use Optimism Fractals consensus process as well, like the council and so forth. I'm open to that. Or bring back Eden plus Fractal was really nice, and so maybe we could have two different experiments going on at once. But yeah, maybe we can save that for a deeper dive as well. Although curious to hear if anybody has thoughts about that. And then just to briefly respond to some of your ideas, thank you for the feedback and also the skepticism about what aspects of it will work and so forth, and whether it's worth focusing on the intents right now at all, or whether you mentioned what's most important to discuss, so maybe it makes sense just to focus on one of those. Like I know you mentioned just having dedicated discussions about funding with deliberative processes about that, so maybe that's better than focusing on all three core intents right now. So curious to hear your thoughts about that. And then I do think that there's value in aligning the community's goals to some extent, as I mentioned. And specifying like these specific games and products that we're building, and also in the striving for funding. Though we don't have funding that we're giving out as a fractal ecosystem right now, we are actively going for funding, and I think this will make it more attractive to and more like kind of set up the foundations for when we do have funding, finding ways to distribute the funding. So yeah, I could share more thoughts about that, but I've already spoken a lot too. So perhaps that could also be a deeper discussion too, where me and you get into the intricacies of the core intents and how much they're worth it. Also, one other note too is it's inspired by Optimism Collective, which I think the Optimism Foundation does quite a good job of organizing and rallying around like specific core intents for each season of Optimism. It's also inspired by Optimism Fractal too. Optimism Fractal has three core intents that we've had for a while. We had two core intents to start, and then we use our consensus process to add a third. Core intents of Optimism Fractal are fostering collaboration, awarding public goods creators, and to optimize governance on the superchain. So it's inspired by both of these, and I can see a role for vision, mission, and intents, each having a like specific, like vision is very broad. The mission makes it more clear and more specific. But in our case, a lot of people don't know what fractal decision-making processes are, and there's a lot of different fractal decision-making processes and so forth. And so these core intents, I think, can make it even more specific and more actionable, and then give us specific things that we can measure our progress with. So that would be my kind of general overview about why I think that these are helpful to have. Tadas, if you have any more thoughts about this, I'd love to hear. Rosmari, Zaal, Jorge, Hurricane, if anybody else has any thoughts, then happy to hear as well, or we can move on to the next topic whenever we're ready to.
I just shared something in the chat, so yeah, I think maybe picking up the intense conversation again a bit later, once they're also a bit more polished, make more sense. And I agree that thinking about ways that we can utilize the respect token is a good way to increase engagement and collaboration and entertainment for the community. Yeah, just more ways to use the respect token. I think is for sure something to think about and experiment with.
Great
Or
points.
whatever token the community is using.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be really helpful to have more great use cases, more reasons why people want respect and so forth. And so I agree, focusing on building out those use cases, making it more entertaining and making it more useful. That's all very valuable. And I agree too. It's something we can discuss later because it's not fully fleshed out yet, but maybe that could be helpful to get people thinking about it. Then we can return to it at next event or something like that. Thanks, Rosemarie. If anybody else, I see Hurricane's unmuted. Hurricane, would you like to
Yeah,
share some
yeah.
thoughts?
I'm not an expert on the fractal thing, but after hearing everything I've heard so far, it sounds like a great use case for the respect token would be like to vote where funding would go. You know, like once a DAO has funding and the people that have the most respect token have the most say as to where the funding in that DAO goes based on the proposals that people put up. I think that would be a great use case. I don't know if it already works like that, but like I think that would be a great use case for respect token.
Yeah, I agree, Hurricane. Thanks for sharing those thoughts. And we've been thinking, I see Tadas is unmuted. Feel free to jump into Das, but both Tadas and I and several other people building the Fractal ecosystem have been thinking about that a lot. And right now, there's not funding being distributed right now by the Fractal community, and we're working on integrations with the Optimism Collective and many other organizations and DAOs and so forth. And I see that as a really helpful use case where people can vote on snapshot and also at the weekly events and so forth to help distribute funding. So I think that's an excellent use case. And that also relates to third intent as well.
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's kind of down the line, but you know, I heard Tadas was talking about how y'all are building essentially like ORDAO, which is like a DAO to govern the DAOs in a sense. So like, yeah, I would think, you know, a lot of these DAOs are businesses essentially, you know, in Web3. So like a great way to, you know, distribute those funds would be, yo, whoever has the most respect, whoever's been providing the most to the community, yo, y'all decide where the funding goes. It just makes sense. You know what I mean? So yeah, whenever that comes.
Yep, exactly. And we're prioritizing that too, because a lot of the foundations are laid now. And now, you know, we've always had this vision about how it could help with funding. And we did some experiments here and there with funding. But now I think a lot of the foundations laid that we can really accelerate and start distributing the funding via that process. And then we can showcase how it's useful to many others, and many other organizations and communities can start using respect to distribute funding more fairly. And it's the people with the most respect can distribute, but it's also you can have a council with just like the top six respected, or most people or something like that. And then the way that ORDAO works or other systems that we can design is that like everybody has a vote and you just have more of a vote depending on how much respect you have too. So there's all sorts of ways that you can do. And we have lots of fractal decision-making processes that help allocate funding based upon this that we're excited to implement and connect with those
Yeah.
funding sources.
Yeah, it sounds cool, man. Y'all, I don't think, I mean, maybe y'all do understand, which is why you're putting in all this effort, but like this has a lot of potential. like, like getting this, nailing this, you know what I mean? Like DAO structure, respect, like it's huge, especially in this age of agents and whatnot that's coming. Like, yeah, man, keep building it, keep building it. Y'all in the right place.
I agree, and appreciate your support, Hurricane, very much, and appreciate that you see it too. We have a similar and aligned vision here too, and I'm very excited to collaborate with everybody towards actualizing this to the full potential as well. And also, I think that you maybe have a good time to transition as well into some of the stuff you've been working on with WaveWarZ and with the ZAO Fractal. I think that you're still participating in the ZAO Fractal. I'm not sure exactly how. I believe WaveWarZ is it's an entirely separate initiative from ZAO Fractal, but you collaborated with ZAO on it, with Zaal on it, and you are also planning on integrating, or you have integrated to some extent, like the fractal decision-making process to some extent, or you're thinking about it or something like that. If you want to give us a little overview, I'd be happy to share my screen if it'd be helpful. I pulled up the website. And also, if you want to share your screen, then feel free. But if you want to just give us a little more overview and share any updates or your thoughts and how it relates to the practical decision-making processes and so forth, and how you're thinking about it, would love to hear it.
So yeah, I love that WaveWarZ is kind of like a part of the ZAO. So the ZAO runs the fractals, but WaveWarZ is like a proposal or initiative within the ZAO. You know what I mean? So that's essentially how everything works. And I actually love how the fractals go. Like we essentially split up into groups of a few people. Everyone says what they've done, and then at the end we vote on who gets the most respect based on what they've done, and it's part of the ZAO. So WaveWarZ is like part of the ZAO. That's essentially how that works. So, but the fractal is like the ZAO fractal. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Thank you for the clarification. I see Zaal also wrote both projects, ZAO Fractal and WaveWarZ, are part of the ZAO IP. He said he can't chat, but Hurricane's got this. Sounds good. Yeah. So thanks for the clarification. I was wondering about that. And then yeah, if you want to provide any more information or updates about what you're working on with WaveWarZ and ZAO Fractal, I'd love to hear it.
Absolutely. So yeah, I don't know if we told y'all about this, but early in our WaveWarZ journey when we were just doing it for fun, an artist told us, yo, this is the most money I ever made off music in my life after our WaveWarZ battle. So I was like, oh, we need to start taking this a little more serious. Like we need to start, really building here. Feel me? So after that, after a while, I was looking for developers, et cetera, et cetera. I've always had the itch to create like a blockchain app or like a consumer DApp on the blockchain. But I've had all of these developers come and go. We're working on it, and then they find another project, they leave. We're like so like all type of things happen. So eventually, I just put on my thinking cap, and I was like, look, I'm gonna learn how to develop. I'm gonna build it myself. I'm tired of depending on everybody else. So after that point, about like 6, 8 months ago, I just dove in, learned everything about building smart contracts, learned everything about building Solana programs. And then eventually, just last week or a couple weeks ago, it was in December, like late December, we dropped our first app that I just completed building. It's the WaveWarZ app V1. So essentially how it works is two artists, two songs or whatever go against each other one-on-one, or artists with two of their own songs, and users can put their soul, aka Solana, behind whatever music they feel in they soul, and whichever song got more soul on it, like soul, you feel me? Like is the winner of the battle. And like the real key that makes it like a little savage here is that at the end, all of the losing soul goes to the winners, and the winners split it up proportionally based on how much soul they put in. So it's like it just gets the crowd more involved, more engaged. So that way, when we run these battles, and then of course, a portion of that goes to the artists. So the artists also get paid as well. We're just always trying to find new ways to innovate in artist discoverability and artist monetization, because it seems like those are the two biggest problems in music, especially for artists right now. So yeah, but that's what we're looking at. And also giving fans another way to engage. Because right now it's like, yo, you can follow them on Instagram, and all that stuff, but like, hey, what happens when they saw that you put 5 soul behind them? Because like after somebody, puts soul behind the artist, they get to leave a message, their Twitter, et cetera, et cetera. So it's like it's just a different way to connect and like support artists and like show love, and like also have some fun in the battle. A lot of people be talking mess in the Twitter in the Twitter space. Yo, my music better than yours, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yo, all right, prove it. So yeah, that's how we're building. And then right now, I'm also building a V2, like a new, like even more crazy like battle platform where essentially instead of just people being able to place their soul, people can trade in the battle. You know what I mean? Trade, each artist's bonding curve during the battle, and at the end, all of the losing bonding curve goes to the winners. So it's like two ways that people can win, and they can also get out if they want to if they're too scared. So yeah, we're having fun. Yeah, we're having fun. Now that I've learned how to build on the blockchain, nothing can stop. Nothing is gonna stop. You feel me? Like I'm building everything that's coming in from my mind just nonstop. And also very down to like work in a blockchain company. Like that's building this kind of technology because I just want to learn more from like other engineers. I just want to be the best. I want to know everything. You know what I mean? I've already been studying everything on my own, but I was like, hey, instead of going around asking for VCs and whatnot, I'd rather go work a job where I could code and like, learn everything and then use that to fund my own business. So yeah, if y'all know anything, definitely reach out to me on that as well. So yeah, appreciate the time, appreciate the vibes.
Awesome. I
Uh,
appreciate you. Tadas, go ahead.
that's the best motivational speech that we had so far in my opinion.
Yeah, glad
Fractal.
you like it, man. There's a lot coming from you, man. Hear how you build it, man. Yeah, y'all definitely going crazy. Thanks.
Yeah, but seriously, like how to uh, we need to put it like cut it and put it as a video motivational speech on how to start building even if you're not a developer before. Like very inspiring.
Totally agree. Thank you so much, bro. And it's so fun. Like I think people are asleep on how fun it is, especially with these AI tools that's coming out nowadays. Oh man, like you can make stuff fast. And it's like once you experience it, once you feel it and see the soul moving and see the program working, it's like, yo, this is crazy. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's how I feel. So,
You get it, man. You get it, man. It's lit, man. There's no way. I was like, there's no way people are going through all this struggle for no reason. Because when I first started, I was like, man, this is a headache. You know what I mean? But like, once it starts working, you're like, oh, I get it. So yeah, totally.
Amazing. Well, yeah, that's super cool. I love it. I saw Rosmari, she wrote she got man, I got goosebumps. Is really great with a bunch of exclamation points all the way up. Zaal saying he went to visit Hurricane in Costa Rica when he got started coding. It was awesome seeing him transition to being a developer. Hurricane has the best motivational speeches. We should definitely go back to that recording and post that around. Sounds like a good plan. Yeah, thanks so much for the inspiring speech and congrats on learning how to develop. And I was checking out. Maybe I should pull up the window in a moment so people can see what you build on the
Absolutely.
WaveWarZ website. Yeah, maybe I'll pull it up right now. I can go through it a little bit. I had the pleasure, by the way, to join. I think it was the first WaveWarZ event where you
I
wrapped.
remember you were there, man.
Yeah.
Yes. And you gave us some great feedback, man. Thank you so much for the feedback. Like, that's so appreciated, dude. So, yeah, thank you for that. Yeah.
You're very welcome. I'm glad that could help. Yeah, I remember Zal told me about it, but that was back like almost a year ago or something like that. That was a while ago. And I heard you rap, I think with Django, if I remember correctly. And I
Yeah,
was
that was the
listening.
first battle.
And it was it was pretty awesome. You guys were like really getting into it, and you were spitting some game too. You kind of picking on each other a little bit in like a fun way too. It was super cool. So I enjoyed it a lot. I'm enjoying listening to many more. At some point, I know Zal invited me and Rosemary to join too because we're musicians as well. And I haven't,
What?
yeah, that's true.
Y'all didn't tell me this,
Rosemary is
yo.
amazing. She's a great singer. So and she's learning all the instruments now too. So it would be super cool to join sometime and participate. And I love the way you've built in all you combined the creative side and invited, all these amazing musicians and participated in itself as a musician. I listened to your music videos. It was super cool. You have a really nice flow and a nice vibe on your videos. And
Thanks.
yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. I love how you're combining that with the technical development and inspiring developers as well. Thank you, Zal. Said would love to have you both. Invite is open. Invite is always open. Thank you very much, Zal. I'll keep that in mind and do it. I really want to. I've just been super busy with this stuff, but I'll definitely follow up with that offer soon and looking forward to joining. And welcome to WaveWarZ, your home for music battles on the blocks. And so check out WaveWarZ on X to learn more. There's some Twitter spaces about music monetization discovery. I think that the goal of both bringing together musicians and sharing these amazing experiences and also helping musicians earn funding is really important. And I'm glad to hear that musicians have been earning funding, doing quite well with WaveWarZ so far. That's a big inspiration for me and a big part of the reason why I got into Web3. You can check out Hurricane's Twitter account too, or X account to learn more about the stuff he's been up to. Looking forward to listening to this clip where he's maybe talking with Joe Rogan. I don't know. We'll see what's going on there. And check out wavewarz.com. If you want to jump in, feel free. I don't know if you're on Joe Rogan. Maybe you're maybe that will come soon.
Manifestation, man. You know, it's coming, man, one day.
There we go. Joe's gonna find out, and then millions of others will too. And yeah, check
Exactly.
out wavewarz.com. This is the website with the application that Hurricane has built, where you can learn more about how it works. You can select a wallet and get involved. There's this event, Base Waves, Hurricane, Concept Waves, Hurricane Ike. Interested to dive into these deeper past battles too, where I had a login which I don't have accessible right now, but yeah, if you want to guide us through, if there's anything else you want to share about WaveWarZ, then feel free. Also, as I mentioned before, this is as Hurricane explained, it's being built out of the ZAO Fractal basically, or very closely collaborating, and Hurricane and Zaal and many other great artists and builders and so forth in Web3 are collaborating at the ZAO Fractal each week. So encourage people to check it out. I see Jorge wrote great talk, guys. Very proud of you all leaving now. Thanks so much, Jorge. Big shout out to Jorge doing amazing work as well. Looking forward to hearing more from Jorge in future events. And yeah, encourage people to check out ZAO Fractal. They got a new Luma page up now. This is on Mondays at 6 p.m. EST, where you can get involved and meet a bunch of great musicians and a bunch of great creators as well. So, and then also I mentioned the ZAO.com is where you can learn about the ZAO and the Talent Agent Artist organization as a whole. Had the pleasure to meet Adabody at a recent Optimism Fractal event, and that's Django and many others. I've had the Well, I had the pleasure and I really enjoyed joining some of the ZAO Fractal calls, or rather the ZAO calls before the ZAO Fractal started. And I'm really excited to see it continuing and growing and people enjoying it so much. Also met Tom Valenz at last week's Optimism Fractal event, and you can learn more about the ZAO token and the ZAO Fractal on the ZAO.com. Zaal has also given great overviews about this at Optimism Fractal, and with an interview with Patrick from Nova Crypto too, where you can learn more about the ZAO Fractal and how it's integrating with fractal democracy, or I don't know if we should say integrated fractal democracy, but integrating with the respect game basically, and respect token and fractal decision making process and so forth. I see Zaal putting Flens is awesome. That's right. Yeah, super cool guy. So um really appreciate you all sharing the respect and all the cool stuff we're building with this with the ZAO community, and really glad to see it going well and happy to support it however I can. Looking forward to supporting it much more. And yeah, if Hurricane, you want to add anything else, or if anybody, Tadas or Marisol, you want to jump in more, then feel free to share any other thoughts. I suppose one question that I might have, if you want to answer one other thing, Hurricane, is if it's integrated with the ZAO Fractal, like for example, with the ZAO Respect token, if you have any integrations there, or if you're planning, or if you're considering. I know this is built on Solana, the music battles, and lots of exciting things are happening on Solana. Whereas the ZAO Fractal, I believe it's on the OP mainnet. So I suppose you could use some sort of, if you are interested at some point, using some sort of cross-chain bridging, kind of like how Tadas was talking about. I don't know if you've gotten that far in thinking about it, or if you're thinking it's related to ZAO Fractal, but not in that way. But yeah, curious if you have anything else you want to share about WaveWarZ, and also if there's any ways that you're thinking about integrating WaveWarZ with the Respect game or Respect token, or any sorts of integrations that you're thinking about for the future.
Absolutely. Zaal actually, gave us a great idea this morning. Like, it's crazy you mentioned that. I can't really talk. I don't know if I can talk about it. I don't know. Zaal, tell us in the comments if we could talk about it. And okay, I don't know, but right
Go
now,
crazy, he said.
Oh, he did say go crazy?
He said go crazy. He's always open.
So essentially, Zaal was telling me, that we should start a sort of artist accelerator, Web3 artist accelerator, like with cohorts and et cetera, and like essentially people will get in the ZAO, and if they earn respect, as an artist, further down the line, who's to say like they can't get put on WaveWarZ? You know what I mean? Especially as we build and we generate more demand, because the goal is definitely not just to stay in Web3, especially as we low key want to make the user experience very Web2 friendly, because most music fans, as we all know, have no idea about Web3. You know what I mean? So yeah, the goal is to definitely bring artists into the ZAO, and once they're in the ZAO, they can earn the respect token, and as they earn respect token, they get bigger and bigger opportunities in the ZAO with, of course, ZAO adjacent things such as WaveWarZ. So like as they're building up, it's like, yo, this artist got a whole bunch of respect, and let's say we have a big list of artists. Of course, not now yet, just getting started, but like let's say what we do, I would think that would be a fact. You know what I mean? So yeah, I love the respect system. It's been working really well in the ZAO so far. So yeah, definitely something that we can implement.
Fascinating. Well, glad to hear it. And yeah, really excited to see what will come out of all these ideas and collaborations. I saw Zaal shared a whole bunch of messages in the chat. I know Zaal, yeah, I think he said he can't talk, so maybe I'll just read those out loud so other people can hear it. But of course, Zaal, you're welcome to jump in and say it out loud whenever if you want. But he said that was a blessing today. The conversation, I think, was awesome to chat and get Hurricane back into the fractal mindset. He's going to be coding our backend and things for the future. So any and all dev tooling and help for him would be amazing. So yeah, we'd be happy to help out. With whatever we can, and can also hook you up with other developers in the Fractal ecosystem who are building tools and infrastructure and so forth. As well as we have a lot of documentation too. So whenever if you're interested in implementing the respect token in different ways, a lot of it's pretty simple probably because it's like an ERC 1155. So it's a pretty simple and composable token. But there's lots of resources. I'm sure that people like Tadas would be happy to help you however they can, as well as Abraham, Vlad, many other builders in the ecosystem. And then, yeah, feel free to reach out with any resources or there's two different apps what we have too that you can play around with that Zal knows about. And he talks about ZAO is being used for proposals in the ZAO Fractal. I know he integrated with Charmverse, which is nice to see with his ZAO Fractal. And then Hats Protocol, Hurricane is a project manager. ZAO Fractal is using the respect token with Hats Protocol. So nice to see. And any decisions that need to happen, Hurricane is in charge. So since he's the current project manager of WaveWarZ on Hats Protocol and has control of the HATS team and funding decision making for WaveWarZ, and any changes or suggestions can be done by the community with the ZAO token. So that's nice to hear. Thank you, Zal, for that elaboration. And I love to see how all these systems are coming together. The respect token and governance decisions and HATS protocol building on this open source code base with these open source protocols, amazing to help empower musicians. Love to hear it. And yeah, so we have a lot of ideas too. As I mentioned, I got into Web3 actually like almost like I don't know 7 or 8 years ago because I was trying to figure out how to empower creative communities. I was doing live streams with music and I got all sorts of ideas, and then that got me to Respect Game and realizing that I think the Respect Game is really one of the best ways, if not the best way that I can imagine to coordinate communities in many ways, or at least a super helpful tool for any environment. So the Respect Game and the Respect token, you have the ZAO Fractal token, that's a really nice synergy with the ZAO token and the WaveWarZ. So love to see it. And yeah, if it'd be helpful, we can brainstorm on different ideas for how you can integrate the respect token in with the WaveWarZ. We've also done things like hosting open mic nights and stuff like that too. So love to hear it. Feel free to share any other ideas if you want. Rosemary says music to her ears. I think maybe Hurricane is frozen his screen right now, but I think you can probably still hear us. So yeah, if anybody else wants to share any other thoughts on WaveWarZ and ZAO Fractal in general, then feel free to do so. By the way, I was also thinking of putting like a case study together about ZAO Fractal because there's amazing things happening with ZAO Fractal. I think that you might like that, Saul, but maybe we can collaborate on that if you're interested, or I can just show you what I'm thinking about because what you guys are doing is really wonderful, and we'd love to help spread it out, help spread out the word, and then show people how other communities or people who didn't know about the respect game previously can enjoy the respect game. So we'd love to help document this and share more details. And I see Zal put up a ZAO song contest proposal with a proposal about how there's a lot of text here, so I don't know if I should read it out, but ideas about the ZAO music cohort and minting your song, and it seems like it's quite well organized and it integrates with the respect in some way too, with some prizes for musicians too. So love to hear it. I encourage people to check it out. I guess this is like alpha, so maybe stay tuned for Zal's Twitter account and the ZAO's Twitter account and stuff like that. And you can learn how you can join ZAO Music Cohort #1 and help shape the future of music in Web3 with an exciting contest that offers a platform for your creativity and unique platform to design the future of cohorts. So people can submit a song to enroll in the cohort, which runs from March until June. Check it out. If you want to share any links, all feel free. Or if you want me to share anything else out loud, then feel free. I can give more details there. He says, love it. Sounds good. Let's do it. Great to hear. All right. Well, I love to hear it too. I guess Hurricane got an internet issue, so maybe he'll join back. But otherwise, it was a huge pleasure hearing from Hurricane. And we are 15 minutes past the top of the hour just about, so we have gone a bit longer. So we could wrap it up at any point now. I see Tadas shaking his head yes. So, and Zal shared the ZAO.xyz is our charm verse when it's linked to token gated rather to 5ZAO. So you're very welcome, ZAO. Thank you so much. I don't know if I called you Zao or Zal. Sometimes it's difficult to the words right. Thank you, Zal, and thank you, Zao, as well. And Hurricane said bye. His internet is out. Okay. Cool. So, well, it's been a really great meeting, a really great way to start 2025 with Eden Fractal and the Fractal ecosystem. Love to see the Fractal tools and processes already providing such benefit and such great integrations in these communities like the ZAO Fractal, as well as all the great stuff we're doing in Optimism Fractal and stuff that Jorge is working with Cardano and all that stuff like that. So, yeah, looking forward to diving more deeply into these topics. We had a great discussion about the core intents as well as the ORDAO employment too. So those things I suppose we've discussed sufficiently enough for now, so we can have a couple weeks to think about them, and then we'll return in a couple weeks for Eden Fractal. We can dive back into this topic. We don't yet have Cagendas formally set up for Eden Fractal. We're planning on soon where people can propose topics, but for now, if there's anything you want to discuss in a future Eden Fractal meeting, just feel free to just share a message in the chat, t.me/Eden Fractal, and we can allocate some time to talk about it if it's related to practical decision-making processes. And yeah, I'm excited to further hone in on our strategy and their implementation to succeed in our mission to implement fractal decision-making processes at society and help everybody optimize collective decision-making and really radically grow the fractal ecosystem. So thanks all so much. Thanks to Tadas. Thanks to Rosmari. Thanks all. Shout out to Jorge and Zaal and everybody out there watching. So I hope you have a wonderful year and looking forward to sharing a lot of great fractal innovations with you. Does anybody else have any other things you want to share before we wrap it up? I think Rosemary said no. She thanks on Hurricane. Very nice. And I suppose we can wrap it up then. So encourage everybody. Thank you, Zaal. You're welcome. I encourage everybody to join the ZAO Fractal on Mondays at 6 p.m. EST and join Eden Fractal in 2 weeks on Thursday at 17 UTC, and also join Optimism Fractal on next week at Thursday 17 UTC. And check out the video from Optimism Town Hall to learn more. We'll also be meeting for Optimism Town Hall and its new bi-weekly schedule as well next Thursday at 18 UTC. So everyone's welcome to join these events to get involved, and we encourage you to invite your friends and check out all the resources that we explored here and get more involved in the community. Thanks so much, everybody, for the wonderful discussion and all the great work. And I look forward to seeing you next week at the Fractal events. Should we count down with the 3, 2, 1, go Fractals, or 3, 2, 1, go Eden Fractal? Maybe go Fractals would be good.
Okay.
Okay. Sounds good. 3, 2, 1. Go Fractals!
Fractals.
Woohoo! All right. Thanks all. See you next time.
Thank you.